Well, Communications Director for the party, Nana Akomia, has meanwhile expressed shock at how some party members got access to the party's letterhead to forge the signature of the General Secretary of the party, Kobna Ejapon. Now, the forged letter said Kobna Ejapon had resigned from his post. He said the party will launch investigations into the matter to prevent a future occurrence.
Well, very, very shocking. If somebody could get access to the letterhead of the party and write a resignation letter in the name of the General Secretary at this time, is very serious. Today it's been done to the General Secretary. Tomorrow it could be done to the Communications Director or even the flag bearer. So it is something that we are going to investigate fully at the Communications Secretariat. I'm hoping that it didn't pass through the Secretariat or somebody at the Secretariat didn't engineer this because we're going to take a very, very serious view of it. But I was told that there was some time when a similar engineer letterhead came from the Flagstaff House purporting to say that they were going to establish a zoo, and it was used in this station and it caused a lot of problems for you. So obviously this is becoming an industry. We have to deal with it.
Doesn't this also reflect the views of the rank and file of the party? Like indeed some members are desperate that the two leaders should step aside for the party to know the next line of action.
Yes, but they would have to take their decision. The two of them have to take their decision. That may be the feeling of some of the rank and file. I have no doubt about it. But they would have to take the decision. They would have to wait and see if there's some moral force in the call for them to step aside. Short of that, you have to go by the constitutional provision, which is also available. But so far it's been called, and when you are called upon to do something, it is you who still must take the action to do it. So far they haven't taken the action. So it is up to them to take up the decision.
And finally, before you go, some also have expressed the view that if you have the flag bearer and perhaps the former president coming on board, you would be able to iron out some of these problems within the shortest possible time.
There have been several efforts. And some success was being achieved before the unfortunate murder of the regional chairman occurred. And so that has precipitated some of these issues. But I can assure you there have been several efforts by the former president, President Kufuor. He's been very active in trying to ensure that some of the disagreements do not threaten the unity of the party. The flag bearer too has been very active in trying to get everybody on board. And some success was being made until the unfortunate events of last week.
Well, still on the politics, and a member of the NDC legal team, Amaliba, says the opposition NPP is suffering from political and constitutional insanity. Now, speaking on the AM show, Mr. Amaliba noted the party is also suffering from what he calls a breakdown in leadership. The NPP has been in the news following the death of Upper East Chair Adams Mahama from an acid attack. Now, the party's General Secretary on Tuesday denied he has resigned his position after a letter purportedly from him was sent to media houses.
What is happening in the NPP can best be described as political and constitutional insanity. Political insanity because I have never heard in any party where the chairman and the general secretary travel to a region to hold a meeting. The meeting is disrupted by hooligans and thugs, and yet the party will stand behind the thugs as against the chairman and the general secretary, condemning the general secretary for going into the region without telling the chairman, as if to say that they have given a license for thuggery and violence. I expected that the party would have protected their general secretary and protect their chairman. But what we saw was rather they were giving out, and it was those who disrupted the meeting that were praised for disrupting the meeting. I think that we cannot reduce our political parties to thuggery and violence. I think that that was distasteful. constitutional insanity because you have a situation where regional chairmen or regional party executives are holding conferences without following the due process. Article 10 of their constitution talks about how you can remove an officer. And indeed, the notice to convene those meetings, you have to give 7 days notice. You find that in most of the cases, or in all the cases, it is just 1 day notice and the meeting is convened. A party that prides itself to be a party of lawyers, the presidential candidate, an astute lawyer, and yet you find this is happening in their party. That's why I describe it as constitutional insanity as well. What I think is that the MPP has completely lost it because of the fact that there's breakdown of leadership.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency, Emmanuel Chemantin-Jako, is calling on the party's leadership to put the interest of the over 5 million Ghanaians who voted for them in 2012 into account. He's also calling on former President Kufuor to step in to calm the troubled waters.
I think that in the last 2 or 3 weeks, there has been some unfolding drama which any true blue blood MPP person would not want even to comment on. I think that it is not too right. I think that all of us must come down from our high horses and consider the over 5 million people who in the last election voted for our presidential candidate.
What do you think needs to be done by leadership? And if we're talking about leadership, not necessarily, who needs to do something and say, look, sit down, sit down, sit down. What is the problem? Let's resolve it.
I think that leadership is collective in these days. In a political party, leadership is, we have various tiers.
We need some 1 or 2
obviously,
to set people down.
Obviously, I will agree with you. I am hoping that the Council of Elders will...
The Council of Elders won't do the trick.
Why do you say so?
Well, they've met a couple of times. They don't do the trick. We need 1 or 2, 3 people.
Another person that I am hoping will come into the fray and say, guys, stop this, is a former President Kufuor.
Well, he's been indicted in a number of statements by, again, some leading members of the party. So how does somebody who has been indicted...
As I sit here in my constituency, there are people who would say all sorts of things about me. It doesn't make it the truth. It may not be factual. Okay. But I want to believe that, and I say this without equivocation, that to date, after 2016, the story may be different. After 2016, going to 2017, the story may be different. But to date, without equivocation, I think that he has been the most successful politician in our political tradition. And I think it behoves on him to stand up and speak to the issues. I want to believe that whatever positions he are taking in the past does not really matter now. I think this is crunch time, and he must come together with a few. I mean, I always believe in the collective. I think that there are a couple of other people in our party who should be able to come up and say, this must stop.
National organizer of the opposition NPP says the party is yet to receive any formal petition from any of the regions calling for the impeachment or resignation of the party's chairman Paul Afoko and General Secretary Kwabena Ejapon. Regional and constituency chairmen have for some days now been meeting to deliberate on whether or not to ask for the resignation or impeachment of the party chairman and General Secretary. Now the two are being accused of being behind the death of the late Upper East Regional Chairman Adams Mahama, but the party says no written petition has hit their desks yet.
What I know is that the 9 regional chairpersons of our party, decided to come back and report to their constituents, which are the constituency executives, in the form of a regional executive committee. And out of that, some suggestions are coming from the ground, and I think that's where I can go. They've not presented formal report to us, so I wouldn't know the details of what I'm hearing, like you are also hearing.
Meanwhile, minority members of parliament are considering setting up a fund to cater for the needs of the family of deceased Upper East Regional Chairman of the opposition NPP. Adams Mahama, national organizer of the NPP, John Bodu, says this is the MP's widow's mite to the family of the late chairman.
I'm privy to what even our minority members of parliament want to do, want to set up a fund to support her wife and the family. Adams is someone who spends money like nobody's business. He is one person who, if he's spending money on the party, he does not look back. He's one person that we've lost, that it will be very difficult to replace up north. The wife, she's our wife, so all that we have to do to make sure that she does not lose more than she has lost is what we would do.
Minister of State at the presidency, Rashid Pelpo, has mounted a strong defense for government's decision to privatize some state-owned enterprises. Now, according to him, such enterprises have provided cover for the siphoning of government funds. He says subsidies to such companies have also put a huge burden on the economy. Mr. Pelpo was speaking at an event organized by the Socialist Forum of Ghana on the privatization of state-owned enterprises here in Accra.
From the day our first president set up state enterprises and we ran them up to date, we have found Ghanaians themselves failing to be able to stand their grounds and to run them profitably. They have failed. We have failed ourselves. Nobody has failed us. We can't continue to fail ourselves. That is my point. If we fail to run them, you can't say that somebody else should not run them for you. We can't have a situation where we can have, where is a Bonso tie factory? Where is the shoe factory? Now we are getting back to it. Where are all the wonderful things the first president did? We failed, and we still have romantic language about it and saying that's my say. That's what I'm saying. We should stop being romantic about these things. Let's face the reality. The reality of our political economy is that we need to create wealth for our people. For social democracy, what we are thinking about is that we need to create wealth as much as possible, get our people jobs, subsidize products for them, ensure that we live worthy lives, create value, ensure that we have required infrastructure for people, students to learn and be able to pass exams, get them and build roads, build bridges, do all the things that will create value for people. That's our social democrat. That's what it's about. If it means ensuring that a particular project run by Ghanaians is not run well, and you can get somebody to run it well for the benefit of the people, we will do it. We can't continue to say all the big things about socialist language, and no, it won't help us.
33 staff of the National Service Scheme have been interdicted following a BNI investigation into financial malfeasance at the scheme. The malfeasance was identified in the operations of the personnel allowances accounts for the 2013-2014 service year. A statement signed by the acting executive director of the scheme, Dr. Michael White-Pesa, said the interdiction is the first in the line of various administrative measures to mete out disciplinary actions. According to the statement, the staff members interdicted so far are mostly from the National Secretariat and regional offices and include regional directors, accountants, and administrators of the scheme. Dr. Pesa White further indicated that management is reviewing sections of the report that focused on the involvement of district-level officers of the scheme to determine the appropriate disciplinary actions. Taking a break here on News Desk. Return shortly with a lot more news. Stay with us.